In the previous lesson, we looked at how we can change the values in the variable underscore underscore name underscore underscore if we run the file, the main app file directly, or if we run the file indirectly by importing it in another py file. Today, we will look at something uh, one step further from what we looked at last time. Last time we said that the function would return a string and that gets displayed on the browser in the browser which the user can read. What we'll look at today is, can we control where that particular return string appears on the web page, and we can affect where it can show up on the web page by changing the HTML around it. And we'll look at few very simple examples just to get the concept down. And for that, I'm going to go ahead here and open the folder. And in this folder, let's create a file. So the first file I'm going to create is just the app return type.py. And what we are going to type in this file is what are the return types that the function can return back to the browser, right? So as usual, what we need to do, the first step is to import modules, and here we are going to import the Flask. So from Flask, import Flask with uppercase F, and then we are going to instantiate the class Flask by typing app is equal to Flask with uppercase F. Then inside of parenthesis we pass in the input argument underscore underscore name. Now is the time where we type the route. So app dot route, and here if we say just a forward slash, that means that's just the uh, root URL. That's whatever URL, the shortest URL that we have, that we get in the terminal. When we put that in the browser, that's where the return value from the function below it will appear. So here we would again create the function home, and this simply returns a string that says hello world and hello world. So this is a very simple uh, simple sort of a value that is returned. It's just a string, and the last thing we need to write is the if name underscore underscore is equal to double is equal to, if that is equal to underscore underscore main, then what needs to be done is app dot run, we say debug is equal to true. So this is the very simplest form of code we have. Now when we run this, so let's go to this particular folder as a cd desktop, and then into the folder L4, and looks like let me see. Okay, so I'm already in that folder, so let's go back if I can, and then say cd desktop, and then say L4. All right, so we are in. Now we say python app underscore return underscore type dot py. When we run this, uh, we get an looks like we get a import, cannot import the name Flask from Flask. And uh, I think what this does is this auto corrects, and that's why that error, I remember typing uppercase Flask there. So when we run this now, we see that the server is running, and this is the URL we need to go to check if whatever we have typed would appear as it should. And so for that, what we'll do is we'll open the browser, and in the browser I'm going to paste the URL, and here we see that hello world does show up. So that's great. What we are going to do now is change what the function returns, and here we will create another route, and this time let's say the page is about page of a website, and if somebody visits there, what should the function return? And what we are going to do is create a function about, and this function simply returns HTML formatted string. So what I mean by that is it has this heading, so h1, so this is the start in HTML angled bracket h1, it's the start of a heading, and then this is usually followed by the forward slash h1 again in angled bracket, that's the end of the heading, and whatever we write inside of here would appear in like a heading bold or larger font size. And then when we type p in lowercase p inside of angle brackets and followed by forward slash lowercase p inside of angle bracket, that's like a paragraph. And here we can type I like Python and cake. So that is what we want the function to return to back to the browser, and the user would see the same thing in the browser formatted with little bit of HTML. And so when we go back to so this is updated automatically, so we if we go to this, it's going to stay the same because we haven't changed anything yet. What has changed is if we go to the about me, uh, just the about page. So if we go to forward slash about, we see that we get now a formatted string, HTML formatted string, where about me is the heading that is inside of this h1 tag, and then we have the I like Python text inside this paragraph tag. Moreover, we can also do something along dynamic side. So for example, if we say route, and we create the route where we have forward slash greet, and let's say we specify the name as this, type out my name there. Now instead of typing this name, what I am going to do is put angle brackets name, and so what this will do is when we type any name in the browser, it will be taken into this, and when inside of this particular uh, function below it, we can use it. So if we say greet, and then in parenthesis we type the name, and this would then return f string hello, and then the name that is there. So name, and let's put a exclamation mark. So what will happen now is if we go here and we remove the about and say we go to greet and specify a name there and run this, we see that we in the output we get hello comma Nilesh exclamation mark. And the way that works is the value for this name greet we already have, which is here, and then the Nilesh name comes into here, and that is what is used inside of this function to generate this f string, which gets returned, and that is what we see here in the browser. Awesome. So this is a very simple way to look at what we can return back to the browser. Now let's look at a little bit code that's a little bit involved. Here we are seeing that everything is appearing in the top left corner of the screen of the browser. Can we move it around in this space that we have? And the answer is yes, we can do that. And to see that happen, I'm going to create another file here, which we would call as app underscore return underscore location, so loc.py. And as usual, we will proceed with writing the code. But before I do that, I'm going to stop this instance of Flask that is running. So here we'll say from Flask with lowercase f, import uppercase F Flask, and hopefully that doesn't change uh, the case there. Right. Then what we'll do, we'll instantiate the app variable as we always do. Flask app is equal to Flask and underscore underscore name underscore underscore. Awesome. Now here is something that is going to be a little different. What we are going to do is create the decorator. So app.route, and here we'll say whenever the user uh, gets to the root URL, which is in this case the root URL is simply going to be this one. Sorry, is going to be just this part that we have. Whenever that is put in the browser, the function below would run. So we have a function which is called home, and inside of this function we are going to create a nicely formatted f string, and this is going to be multi-line, and therefore we are using triple quotes here. So the HTML, if you do not already know, here is the simple syntax for that. We first are going to type HTML in the square bracket or angled brackets, and we are going to then finish that off with a / HTML to tell that that's the end of that HTML. Then we can put a tab there and create a head. Again, angled brackets, and we can end that with another / head within the angle brackets to tell that that's the end of the head. And within this we can write the title. So title, again we start that off with title inside of angle brackets, and we can say simple squares, and we can end that with / title in again inside of the angle brackets. Pretty straightforward. We put a / to end that particular uh, uh, tag we started with. Below that comes the body. So we first have the head, and then now we have the body. Again, body would start with that, and we would end that with the /. Inside of body we are going to create a table. So we put a tab, and the table again is going to be same like so, and we are going to end the table right here with the angle brackets with a /. Now here, with just this table we can add some properties to this table. We can say that the uh, width is going to be 100%. So take up the entire space on the screen. That's what we are saying. Then we say height. Height is equal to again 100%. So we say okay, take up all the height on the screen. Border, we set that to 0, and then cell spacing, we again set that to 0, and let me move that to the right. And after that we can say cell padding is equal to, and we can set that to something like 50. So that is going to create our table. Now to make this visually interesting, what we will do is in that table we are going to create two rows. Okay, so the first row is going to be with table row tr. We start that there, we end the table row right here. Okay, and then the second one is tr. We start the table row there, we end the table row right here. So we have two table rows. Now we have we have that, and with this we are going to now create two cells in each row. So here is our first cell, and to create the cell I'm going to call a function top left. So that's going to be the top left cell, and the second cell in the first row is going to be top underscore right. Now if you are wondering where is the information for that, and to get that we are going to create another function here, def space top underscore left open close parenthesis colon, and here we're going to return the required string, HTML string that will create that cell. So here we'll say table data again inside of the angle brackets, and we end that again with table data open close with a forward slash. Inside this we specify some style. So style is equal to, and this is going to be a string, and we will put some value there. And before we do that, so before we my mistake, so this style has to go inside of this angle, and whatever table data we have is going to be, we'll just say this is top left. That's all we are going to say. And for the style we can put couple of things. I will say background color, and this is, let's put a single quote outside because we are going to use the double quotes inside. So we have background color, and then we say colon, this is crimson color we are using here. Then font size of the text that we are going to use, let's say that is going to be 100 pixels. Then the font family that we are going to use is going to be Courier new. It could be anything, but that is what we plan to use in this case. So that is the top left cell that we created. Likewise, I'm going to now simply copy this code and create the top right cell, which is this one. And what we can change is the color. So let's make this steel blue, and for the pixel size I'm going to make this 240 pixels, and for the font family let's make this Vardana, and this is the top right cell. Okay. All right, so far so good. We have created these two, and then what we if we want to run this and check, we can do that, but I just want to wait till we have everything typed out. So here we are going to do the same thing, except now this is for the bottom part. So bottom left, and then we have bottom right. Again, we can simply copy the two functions we have above and just change the top to bottom. Again, here we change the top to bottom, and again if you wish you could change the colors. I'm going to do that so that we have some visually look different looking cells. And here let's change this to Georgia. And finally the last one, let's change the color to my mistake, Georgia, and then let's change this to teal color. And the pixel font size is 150 pixels, and the font family is Comic Sans MS. Okay, and of course we need to change the top to bottom for both of these. Here is how we do that. Let's save the code, and hopefully this should run. There's one bit missing. If you remember, we need to put the if underscore is equal to underscore main underscore app dot run debug is equal to true, just so that when we are going to run this file directly. So this is needed here. All right, so with that, let's go to the terminal and see if we can run this file, which is, let's look at the file name. So this is Python app underscore return underscore location loc.py, when we run this, it says no such file or directory. And let's see why that is the case. We have, oh, that is true, I missed typing R in the return. Hopefully this will work now, and it is running. So let's see what happens if we refresh this page. And here is, we have, awesome. So we have the top left, we were able to put the returned value in the top left corner, we were able to put the value in top right, bottom left, bottom right, anywhere in the screen. So this is just to uh, give you a glimpse of the control we can have over the entire web page using HTML as to where you can put what you want, right? Yeah, so you have full control over the web page that is there, and all we need to do is put that HTML in the Python function as a string, and then that gets sent back, and Flask will handle all the uh, uh, all the stuff to get for that get the stuff from browser to the backend to the browser again. Also, we haven't done much of the uh, formatting or coloring. We did a little bit, but this could be made much fancier if we had used additional uh, formatting, designing using the CSS. So that is also possible. All right, so I hope with this particular lesson you learned that we can change the type of string we are returning from a function back to the browser, and we can also uh, we also have control over the location where uh, the returned value can be put on in the back in the browser, which the user can see. Okay, and these are little things, but eventually when we put all this together in a larger project, it will help you maybe display an image at a specific location, or display a specific alert in a specific location on in the web page. Right, so we'll stop this lesson here and hope to see you all in the next lesson. Until then, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.